to all of our viewers, and we hope that all of our viewers are doing great. We are so much honored and humbled today to have one of our most favorite bands of Bangladesh here with us. We would have loved to meet this band in person, but even virtually, this is an exciting experience to have Level 5, the band, with us.
Someday.
Hopefully,
Someday,
yeah,
brother. Someday.
Very
definitely.
well.
So, as Harris was mentioning before this call to me, that it's kind of a fanboy moment for us. So, thank you so much once
Whoa.
again for joining.
Means a lot,
And
bro. Means a lot.
no, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. I mean, you can see it clearly on our face, the excitement that we have, and we are so glad to have you guys on this particular session. So, without further ado, I just want to ask you guys, why Level 5? Who came up with this particular name? And why do you guys came up with this particular name for your band?
I guess Aiedid can say that, as he's the founder member. He's one of the founder members. So he can explain how he came up and how he and Kaiser came up with this name.
So basically, the story was funny. We were looking for a lot of names. We couldn't find any. We were giving a lot of names to the band. So we were really struggling with the names part. So one day I was sitting in my bed thinking of names, and so I thought of a name, like I thought a random name, Level 5, and I said it to I told it to Apurva, Ehsan, and then we figured what Level 5 means to us, like the meaning of the name. It's basically 5 people from 5 different worlds coming to one point and doing something amazing. It's that.
Amazing.
Like, yeah, right. Like Apple, right?
Yeah,
You had that moment. But
yeah.
also you all bring your level of skill and talent together, and you create magic, and the magic that we absolutely
Yeah.
love, and so many millions along with us. But
Thanks a
on
lot.
this point,
Even the funny thing is, people here, they kind of think that we live in Level 5, like our house in like the 5th floor. So it's in Level 5. So they thought, okay, Level 5 means the people living in Level 5s and something. But it's a different level, 5 levels of dimension, 5 levels of musicality that we bring together and try to make music.
If you wanna say, if you wanna like summarize it, it's basically more than the sum of its parts, basically. Like, yeah.
Nicely put.
absolutely. Absolutely. On this point, we are all wondering that how did this journey begin, right? You getting into music, you creating such lovely music. What was the origin of this journey?
I guess
Huge,
Aiedid
big,
Bhai
long
can
origin.
start again.
Huge origin. Huge origin. Okay. So my friend Ehsan, he knocked me up one day. So at that time I was in a band, but it was not like I was not the main vocal of the band. So it was a band of in a community, when you and your brothers want to form a band, you form that. It was just like that. And at that time of the year, I was also practicing classical music. And Ehsan called me up, as he's my friend. He called me up. He's like, I want to start a band. Would you be the vocalist of it? I was like, I only sing classical music, and it's not like I don't have the rock type of feeling in my voice. Nah, you can do it. I know you can do it. Just let's start a band. Yeah, sure, why not? And we were like excited. Oh my God, we are starting a band together. And at that time, it was somewhat like, oh, if you're in a band, you're like really cool and awesome. We were in that era. We were thinking, oh my God, we're gonna start a band. So we started a band. Our friends, helped us a lot. Uh, we had guitarist Sajid. He helped us. We had like in the like very preliminary stage of the band. We had Asif. We had a lot of brothers as well, but we couldn't actually come into a being a team together. It was not sustainable. And then after a lot of search for a drummer, we got Guppu. And things started to work again. So Guppu.
Yeah. So basically, what happened? Aiedid Bhai is my senior from university. So we basically, me, Aiedid Bhai, Ashiq, we are from the same university. So I came to Dhaka from Chittagong. So basically, I had a band in Chittagong, that is my hometown, and it was metalcore. Like I was all into metal and stuff. Like I was exploring so all sort of metal songs, heavy metals and whatnot. So then you know that what happens with age, your taste changes, right? So I came to Dhaka, and Aiedid Bhai once called me and said, I have a band, would you like to play drums? So as I was in a different city, I had no band, I left my band behind. So I figured out, okay, why don't I give a try? So I went to the practice, and you know what happens, the musicality that clicks, you know that this is the kind of persons that you need to work with. So that kind of clicked.
Absolutely.
Aiedid Bhai and Kaiser was also there. So we were basically into rock back then. We didn't figure out the genre indie. So I joined basically on 2012. Then we sort of worked, did a couple of shows, did quite a bit of shows. Then we composed a few songs, but we didn't release those. And when in 2015, our bassist at that time, Asif, he had his reasons to leave the band. Then Kaiser and Razin was in the university where Kaiser was reading in. So Kaiser approached to Razin, and he came to the practice one day, and he played, and we all gelled somehow. So then came Razin, and in 2018, Ashiq was my junior in my university club. I have seen him growing all the way. He was this little kid who came with a guitar and who was into all progressive rock and stuff. So I have seen him develop all the way. So when the time came, I guess we asked him out to play in our band. And Yaber is the most latest addition to our band. He joined in 2019 when Kaiser left the country, and we figured out that we should continue the band, and we had a lot of things to do. So Yaber joined in, and Razin can tell the rest of the stories if he wants to.
Okay, on my part of the story, so basically I was I did a lot of I did a lot of music previously prior to joining level 5. But basically I did melodic death metal, grunge metal. I was into grunge metal at that time. So I was as a volunteer. I was working as a volunteer in one of the shows from of level 5 at our university. So I was referred to Kaiser Bhai at the time. He was searching for a bassist, so he approached me for Facebook, and I just came in and auditioned, and it didn't go well, but somehow Kaiser Bhai selected me, and then in fact, I was a bit uncomfortable because I wasn't into indie stuff at that time. So then we started jamming, and we started playing music, making music, a lot of songs. Then eventually, in 2016, Kaiser Bhai told me that he's going to leave the country permanently, and we were done with the recording, except Obosheshe. So all the other songs were recorded back then. So he just gave me the hard disk, and he shipped it to USA. So then all the mixing and mastering works were done. It took us almost 2 years to complete all the things, all the mixing and mastering and stuff. By then, we were a bit confused because Guppu Bhai was not in town, and Aiedid Bhai had busy schedule. So At that time, we actually focused on the album. Me and Kaiser Bhai. Kaiser Bhai was communicating from USA through Facebook, and I was there. And in 2018, Ashiq was there as a guest guitarist, and then he became permanent guitarist in 2019. And Yaber was I was when the band decided that we need another guitarist, so I asked one of my friends uh, to refer us a guitarist, and so he did. And then uh, I met Yaber, and we started jamming, and
We met
we
in the
had plans
shady
to
alley behind our work, basically.
yeah, a very shady LA. I was
He came
I
in
was in formal getup.
wearing a full suit and everything. He was coming from work.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm a corporate person, so I had to wear. I was wearing suit and tie and full formal.
Yeah,
So
and I was wearing
he
just a
came in.
polo t-shirt, man.
Yeah. So this is how we actually approached
Yeah.
him, and we talked, and we felt like he's the one. So this is how the current lineup was formed. But there were times we were on the verge of quitting, on the verge of leaving, and but in fact, when I joined Level Five, that was almost the time I decided no, I'm not gonna do music anymore. So after 2 or 3 days, Kaiser Bhai approached. So then we decided after this formation was done, then we decided to go for a second album and release a few singles.
Like so many stories that begin with colleges and universities, right?
Yeah,
We
exactly.
the origins. Um, that brings me to something that we have always been wondering about the culture, right? So we are exploring so much music from Bangladesh, and we are seeing a lot of bands that have similar stories, similar origins. So what we're wondering is about the culture. What is the culture of universities in that part of the world that nurtures so many musicians? Can you somehow describe what this phenomena is?
Well,
Well,
in our country, okay, Guppu bhai, you can share. It's fine.
no, I was just gonna tell that like back when I started doing music, when I started learning drums and all the things, it was sort of tough for me because we hadn't had the resource back then. Because the stereotype society that we had, especially in my town, so it was very conservative at that time. But somehow, like what I personally feel, if you know that you are into music, you somehow ended up doing music. That is what I believe. But what really amazes me right now, that people, students, like children who are like in like 15, 16 years, they are easily getting all those resources in their hands. There is YouTube. There are a lot
Yeah.
of guitar shops in Bangladesh right now. We didn't have that. Yaber can relate because we are from the same city. We had only one shop, and we had to go all the way to the other side of the town just to get those, a bit glimpse of guitar. But there are a lot of shops right now in Bangladesh, and students, guys who was like 15, 16, who are like 15, 16, they're easily getting all the accesses from their parents and the whole society. And there is a lot of shows going on at the same time. There are a lot of firms, there are a lot of enthusiasts like you guys we have also here. So they are constantly making shows, doing shows, and making some sort of affiliation with us, with the bands, so that they can pursue music. So I guess it has like developed quite a lot in our country.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to add that ever since like when I was a teenager, when I was in school, the culture of the like band music and the rock music or metal music, whatever you want to call it, there was a very thriving community around it. Like, if you wanted to go to a gig, you would know someone from like your part of the town going as well. So there was a very tight knit community always, and it has been like that in Bangladesh for the like past 20 years, I guess. Like if you, I could say that because that
Yeah,
is what I have experienced.
yeah, I quite agree with Yaber, because I started to go in gigs. I wasn't doing music. I used to kind of not like music back then. So I went to a concert with a senior Boro Bhai, what we say here, senior brother, and then I was getting into music. So overall, the culture is, if I say, if I talk about the last decade, well, in our country, musicians are not that much prioritized, that much respected. There's a taboo doing music. But eventually, what happened is all the universities, private universities and public universities, they um, started to organize different shows, started to inspire who are into music or into acting. Those cultural clubs, they build up cultural clubs. They used to launch shows. So a lot of bands, a lot of musicians came in through all the events in the university. So most of us are into music because of those platforms. And another thing is back there was an era when shows were very limited in our country, and they were all syndicated. But recently, the overall scenario has changed, and people are launching shows independently. They're organizing big shows, and the kind of syndicate or the type of taboo that was in our country has kind of disappeared in recent years, and people are more into music than ever before.
People are
So
more accepting that
yeah,
Exactly.
people
doing
are
And we have
music
more
like as a
listeners.
hobby is like actually a viable thing.
And we have
we
more
actually have
listeners right now because
we do have people now who are really dedicated listeners. They will go to your show, they
exactly
will
that is
refer your
the
music
most,
to people.
yeah,
That
exactly.
was rare
Well,
back
I would like to argue that we
10 years
always
back.
had that. They just now have the medium to be more vocal about it.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They're more
true.
resourceful, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, what I would like to add is like uh, going back to college, the colleges and universities. That is where you meet the most uh, like-minded people, right? And
Yeah.
people will seek each other out. If you like music, you're gonna seek out other people who like music, and then figure out a way to make something out of it. Like, and
Because in that time you are
obviously,
carefree,
cultural
right?
clubs help, but you know, if
Mhm.
some people like cricket, they're gonna group together and play cricket.
Mhm.
Nothing you can do about it. Yeah, same with music.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Right. So, Razin, you mentioned a very good point regarding music being a taboo topic. If I talk about 15, 20 years back, and when you guys started, so I assume that there could be some challenges when you started at that point of time. But what were your inspirations to basically come together and do music? Do you have any artists that you looked up to, any band that you always aspired to replicate kind of their work, or just were really into music because of them?
Well, as inspiration, there was no. I won't say there was any particular people, but yeah, I loved Beatles. Beatles were a big inspiration for me at a time, at a certain time. So Paul McCartney was a very inspirational person to me, and I loved Hofner basses. So I do have dreams to get a Hofner bass. So, but as inspiration, at least I was more inspired by the type of music, the songs itself, like songs from Coldplay, songs from U2. So that was more inspiring to me rather than a particular person.
We five have different sort of inspirations, and with those inspirations, those influences, we come together and try to make a song. Like, I come from a very heavy metal background. Like, I used to listen to As I Lay Dying, Miss May I, and a lot of bands, like those are like heavy metal core. I used to like tune my guitar to drop D and do all those, you know, jumping and stuff. But yeah, but what I can say about me, myself personally, that I listen to a lot of songs regardless of its genre. I don't believe in genre. If I feel that this song is like catching me up, then I'm into this song. So I grew up listening to Whitesnake, Queen, Beatles. Those had a influence in myself. Then later come the new age, Korn, Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, POD, the new age metal. Then came Coldplay, then came Codaline, those indie bands, like more minimalistic, limited approach, but melodic. So I had these three dimensions in my music listening sort of a career. So all those blended together, I can really say that also for all those guys with me, like Aiedid Bhai, Ashiq, Yaber, they had their influences. But when we come together under one roof, we all think like the same, the linear way that, okay, whatever influence we have, we can at least give this thing to our band from those influence. So it kind of shows, and it kind of make our bond much more stronger. The songs more, unique, I would say.
This, I mean, you all bring your own taste and own flavor, and this is what's unique about you. But inspiration is one thing that leaves the virus, the worm in here,
Yeah,
right? But then what
exactly.
you do with it is what matters. So this
Yeah.
is what I'm getting to, that let's talk about what you do, the music and your philosophy, your ideology behind music. What, I mean,
All right.
how does the music comes out?
Well, the thing is,
It just comes out.
exactly, the music, it just comes out.
It just
And
comes
the thing
out.
with level 5, is like you are going through a situation and you just write something and you come up with something. If you have listened to our songs, right? Every song from the album had different stories, no relation to whatsoever.
Absolutely.
So, and it's saying like that you are feeling sad, you're feeling depressed, Chottomite is there for you. You're feeling you're in love, you need to go to somewhere else, 60s love is there for you. You are kind of feeling mischievous, Room 17 is there for you. You are studying for a new beginning, you're looking for a new beginning, Shubhra Prabhat is there for you. You are feeling, sort of lazy and, rusty, Alchemy is
No,
there for you. So we have different
no,
And
you're
ideologies
not
regarding
you're not
Alchemy.
and
lazy. You're not lazy when you're listening to alchemy. No, that's not the meaning.
and
The way
if
I
you are
That's
see it.
not
looking for some,
ideology.
and if you're looking for something new, then wait till our next single.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow,
Hey,
Ashiq.
okay, teasing is going on.
Yeah, it is teasing. Yeah, he's
Uh-huh.
been quiet all the time
So
just to make this
basically,
teasing.
what I would say that we actually come up with all the songs randomly, to be very honest. So, for example, Khoye Jawa Chaad was Khoye Jawa Chaad actually came up all of a sudden and out of a blue. So I just recorded one version of the song and sent us through WhatsApp, and that was during pandemic. So that was the time we started working on it. So there are multiple songs which are actually being built or being created kind of randomly, and sometimes the instrument parts are done earlier, and sometimes the lyrics are already done before the music has been. So it is more when we make the actual song, we actually prioritize the lyric and what it's trying to say, and we do have perceptions uh, towards all the songs, but at the same time we kind of leave uh, some kind of perception to our listeners as well, so they can actually listen to the song and build up their own story with it. That is something we try to do, and what the songs that we have already made do have some kind of story, some kind of meaning to us. And the fun part is that all the songs have different meanings to ourselves personally. So that is something else.
Exactly.
So to be very
Like,
honest,
like we
that is
were
a
arguing,
song.
me and Aiedid were arguing about Alchemy because he has his perception, I have my perception. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
alchemy is not a lazy song.
I get lazy when I hear it. Because
Okay, so
Alchemy means it's laziness.
they went very,
So
they went a very
the
sentimental
new
route
songs, what
regarding how
the new songs we are trying to
the
make,
purpose of music.
all those songs are basically focused on emotions, different emotions that people have. different part of their life or different stages people go through during their life. Post span. I actually saw that all the people in our country do have certain type of emotional thing going on in their life, and all of them have similar kind of stages in their life. So we are actually trying to make songs based on those emotional um, aspects actually.
Actually, we went through those same situations one at a time. So, we try to hold on to that and try to make a song out of it. So basically, that's how we work. It's just like we have to
I think he froze.
pretend it. It's just one single time Razin came with one thing that brother that I have this situation going on and I have written something. So I just we just sit and okay, let's make a song out of it, and somehow it clicks. That's the beauty of level 5 for me personally. So
This is
the abstractness that we have, usually people take a lot of time to make a song, the chordings, the complicacy and stuff. We always think simplicity is the best. And despite all of us being so critical in music, like in the past, because I have been in metal, Yaber have been in metal, Ashiq have been in progressive rock. But when we come up with the lyrics and the concept, we figure out it is very simple for us. Why don't we just simplify the things? So that's how we try to approach towards our music, our sound. And I guess people have liked
I would
that.
like to interject something like Khoja Chad was the
Yeah.
first track that I did with level 5, right? And before that, I was mostly doing modern metal stuff, like Periphery, Tesseract, Architects, Intervals, things like that. So I was more into that progressive, very complex time signature based pieces of music. So coming from that, then we started working. Basically, what they said, Aiedid just sent a video on WhatsApp, a very rough demo of Khoja. He just got a lyrics from one of our peers, and he just put a tune to it and recorded a very early demo of it and sent it to us. We take a listen, we all like it. Yeah, like we can make something out of it. We all agree it's a good, it has a good foundation. We all like it, and then we start building upon it. So then we get into rehearsal. We have ideas already forming in our head. We started laying stuff. I play something in the background that Guppu hates, and he's like, this is not gonna work. Yeah, scrap that shit. Yeah. Then Asif was like, yeah, try that, not that, try that. Then we just, it just molds into and forges into another thing, which I didn't anticipate coming into the rehearsal. I was like, yeah, I got this sick guitar line that everyone's gonna love, and this is the way that the song should go. I made a demo and everything. Then I go in and everyone hates it. Right. But out of that comes out what you actually heard in the recorded version of Khoja Chad. I produced it alongside Razin Halim, and the guitar lines. If I want to go technical about it, like we are very like coming from a very metal and very technical background. Slowing things down and going simple with it, it's a very hard thing to do.
It's really tough,
You wanna
really tough,
your
really
finger
tough, really tough.
your fingers just wanna go ham on, but you have to rein them in. So yeah, like we start throwing out ideas.
That's one struggle we actually have with Yaber
Yes.
and Guppu in
Yes.
particular. And sometimes
Because I
Asif.
still
So they start
exactly
playing those heavy stuff randomly in our jamming sessions. So sometimes we do have to change particular layers, and just I still remember there was a line, there was a layer in one of the songs, one of the new songs that we are recording. So it was hard for power for played in a particular layer. So I deleted it and I said that it's lost, just to avoid those type of playing. So these are the struggles we actually have.
Oh, I didn't know the story. I know right now. Okay, so you deleted it. Okay.
Kind of a surprise for you.
I
We
love
Yeah.
can
that
only
you're.
refer to Koyajawa Chat so far because that is the only single out of the new lineup that you guys have heard.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
we are
we have
hearing
other
you.
songs in the work as well. So
Right. First of all, this is incredible insight for all of us, for all the people who are going to watch this. These are just invaluable insights. You also talked about a little bit about the process, right? We wanted to get to how the process goes for the music. And you described that, okay, it's sometimes situational, there are sometimes environmental elements that comes into play, and this your music process, the lyrics writing, the emotions. But what I want to get to is what we noticed in your music is the translation of emotion in the purest form in your music, right? So this is something that we notice in your guitar play and your drums and everything. The translation of emotion, not into words but through music. The communication was so pure and so precise. How does that comes out? So let me also try to rephrase it. So if, let's say, Ashiq is feeling something and he wants to translate that into music, how does everyone else also feels and embraces that emotion so that it does come out in a way that Ashiq wants it to comes out?
See what the thing with level 5 is. What I like personally. This is my band, but then I have to say, what I love working with these guys, this bunch. Everybody here, they know how all the instruments operate. Just because I'm a drummer, I don't need to only focus on drums. Just because Aiedid can sing, he doesn't have to focus on singing. Same goes for Ashiq, Yaber, and Razin. So whenever, like, one day Ashiq came with a tune, so first we were like, okay, we kind of like it. Then we all put our inputs to it, and which is very like we are very like-minded. So whatever we suggest is kind of click. I guess I would say it's like I would like to say that it's miracle, but coincidental. I would like to say that in that way.
I
But
would
it
like to go
kind
into
of
a more
clicks.
technical aspect of this because I wrote like three. I composed three of the tracks on the upcoming tracks. Three upcoming tracks. I'm just gonna say. So how I go into writing is like if I'm feeling something and I try to compose it and I write it and I record the demo, then the first question I ask myself, like when I'm recording demos, I'm not just recording like guitar. I'm recording a guitar. I'm programming drums like a MIDI drum just for the reference of it. How I want the drum to be in it. Some kind of a synth based like keyboard based stuff, just an idea of how I want the music to sound like, just a basic idea at the basicest form. And then I ask myself, is this level 5? Is this then if I make someone listen to it, if I show this to someone, I think I'm like, yeah, it's level 5 ish. It sounds like something level 5 would do. Because by then this is only me, this is contained within my hair and my computer, that is it, right? Other people have not had I'm not even gonna present them with this if I don't think it's remotely level 5ish, because I write drastically different stuff and we all have other musical interests other than level 5. Ashiq bhai has another band which he plays in. So when it comes to level 5, that sentimentality of the understanding of what Guppu bhai would play on drums, like I know, like when I play a guitar, I instantly know what Guppu bhai would be playing in the background. I just know
Exactly.
it.
That's the thing.
I know what Razin
On
bhai
the
would be putting on the bass
Another
line,
thing I want to add
roughly.
is in this topic is like before playing something, we actually talk about the emotion first. What we want to actually make the music about. So there is always one session that we talked with all the band members that this
So
song is
there
about
is a
this.
very
This song is
weird
about
session for me.
that.
Razin bhai going make it sad.
Yeah.
Like, your guitar's not sad enough. Be more depressed.
Really,
I'm more depressed next rehearsal.
Very true.
Well, like
so
I'm
basically,
feeling happy. No, you have to be sad.
yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm
So
kidding.
this is what actually
But
happened.
yeah,
Uh,
that is how a brief
yeah.
goes.
We do discuss about the song, the emotions and stuff, and we are talking about the transition. So all the songs when we discuss about the song, we actually try to say that no, this is the type of emotions we are going through, and then we will be jumping towards that. So what we're gonna do? Then suddenly, for example, that Guppu Bhai references something out, Ashiq plays something, Yaber plays something, then we actually have a group discussion and say like, yeah, that is something that is actually sinking in with the emotion. So we totally focus on our emotions and what the song is trying to tell to our listeners. That is something we put our priorities. And for the
Right.
transitions, what we
Hello.
use different kind of synths. We use layers. For example, when we want the listeners to go through an emotion which is a bit sad, then we try to add up um, something that sounds a bit sad. Then when we try to excite, we generate excitement. We try to add things or sounds which actually generate excitement. So this is how we actually make our music. So before composing it, we discuss, we sit together, we discuss what we're trying to say, what we're trying to deliver to the listeners, and then we start working on it.
It's like
All right.
solving the puzzle all together, and we all have the missing pieces.
Exactly.
Guys,
We
hello.
always
Hi.
have discussions, and we
Nice.
always have
Guys,
discussions
hello.
over food. So
Yeah, we can hear you.
we eat a lot. So when we eat, we
I
discuss.
need to take a break. I just need to go to my family dinner. Just give me like 5 minutes. Plus, I don't
Sure.
have charge on my phone, so I have to charge it as well. Just give me
No worries.
Sure.
So what I would like to add to the discussion is that music is a subtractive art form, in my opinion. The more you add to it, the more you subtract from the essence of the music. So
Mhm.
if you listen to our band, it's a very simple in a musical composition way. It's a very simple
Absolutely.
composition, not very complicated, very easy to listen to stuff.
Mhm.
Nothing you have to, sit with a calculator to listen to. The most of the stuff that I listen to. Yeah. So yeah, that is what I wanted to say. It's easier and it's
And
more effective to convey emotion when the art form is, true to you. We're not
True.
trying
and
to.
one more thing about how we approach to the songs, like when all the the demos are done, we know the structure, the skeleton of it. There is Razin, there is Aiedid. Razin is kind of skeptical with it because he is always into, I have to make this sound. He has always this vision, so which kind of pushes so that we are going towards that dimension. He is like set in his mind that I have to make this sound like this. So we have to go through endless takes, endless sessions, mixing and mastering. Is like he's very skeptical with it. And what I would like to say about Aiedid, now that he's not here, I would like to say that he has a very unique approach to making tunes. Like whenever we come with a
Melody
lyric, I
writing.
have a
He has
different
a
sort
very
of
unique
the
approach to
melody
melody.
writing, the
His
tuning,
melody line is
unique approach to it.
unique.
If I have a guitar
Unique.
riff
Like
and
I have
I have a tune in my head, I don't I don't like hum it
exactly.
or I don't say it to him outright, right? I go to the rehearsal and I play the part and I want to listen to what he comes up with it, and whatever he
He's
comes up with
exactly.
is drastically different of whatever I came up with
Exactly.
while writing the song.
Exactly. And it kind of blends somehow. So that's the beauty of it.
That is
And
you
Yaber and
can say
Ashiq is
that
there
is
too.
the essence of level 5. the melodies that he comes up with that is uniquely level
Yeah,
5, I would say.
whenever the vocal part is being done, so most of the times what happens is me and Ashiq and Yaber, we actually put more focus on the layers and what is going to happen in the background, not the main vocal, not the main layer, because we do have confidence that whatever he will be doing at the end will sync in with the song.
All
So
what
that's
I
always.
think while producing is how do I support that? How do I support the melody that he is accentuating? So
It sort
if
of
I do a
directs
synth
us.
line, if I do a guitar line, you guys have heard Kuhejocha, the whole guitar line was supporting the vocal. That is all I did there. There was no intricate runs or shredding or anything. We were just trying to serve the vocal. Ashiq Bhai was just doing a very high up octave single strum. Why? Because that is what we thought
Very
would complement the
minimalistic.
vocal,
Mm.
and very minimalistic. I was playing like 4 notes per bar or something.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we also like
And
thought during when we heard 60s love, and we exactly were talking about this, that there's no shredding and there's no need for shredding, right?
Yeah.
You just don't have to show off what you can do. You have to do what the track needs, right? And this is
Yeah.
an
I think if we shred, we'll be out of this band.
That is
but that brings me
another thing to consider.
This brings me to another very interesting point when we talk about identity, right? So you, Ashiq, just mentioned that what the band's identity is, that what we can do in the bounds of the band. And also Yaber was mentioning that is this level 5 or not, right? And that instantly tells me that, okay, you have a certain identity, a philosophy around level 5. So what is it? What are
Yeah.
the bounds?
I would say it's a soundscape. It has to be distinctly level 5. We have a sound. If you heard the album, if you heard
Yeah.
Khojajad, and if I the demos that we're trying to do, no matter who I show it to, right? If I show it to a friend, and
I think the main
he
fundamental
will
is
immediately get it.
I think the main fundamental is the keep it as simple as it can.
True.
Yeah.
I really
And
agree with Ashiq about this. Keep it simple and keep it minimal. And there is
what I love
something
about
I
the
think.
The philosophy is
what I
less
love
is
about
more.
the exactly.
Another thing is that keeping things simple is sometimes really tough. And if you
Yeah.
know how
Yeah.
to play, if you know a lot of things, um, keeping keeping things simple is tough. And when Ashiq, Guppu bhai or Yabe plays, they try to do a lot of things. So when when we actually as a band force them to keep it simple, they do some they play some stuff which are complicated in a very simple manner. So that is something very unique, and that actually resembles in our
Exactly.
songs. And yeah,
Exactly. When I
if
gave the
you
drum
see,
take
if you
of
listen to
Koijawa Chad, I
exactly,
was
if you
like, I
listen
was
to
so
Koi
confident.
Jawata, the
Okay,
drum, yeah, the drum
simple
is
song,
itself
simple
very tough,
drumming.
and exactly, and all the tough part in Koyajawa chart is velocity, working with the velocity, working
Mm.
with the
Yeah.
stroke.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so
Like I
that
have
is
given
tough.
take drum takes to metal songs. I have given metal songs take like a numerous time in my life. I just had to like do sessions for 1 hour. Then I was like okay with 3 songs. But when I got to give take about to Khwajawata, I was like okay, simple song. I will be just done by like an hour or so. It took me 4 hours just to get the velocity out of it, just to bring the simplicity out of it, the notes, the strumming to align with the strumming that the guitars are doing, just to make the vocal up front, just to make
Mm.
the the feeling up front. So, and one other thing I would like to mention about our songs, that whatever we compose, I kind of personally like it because people dissect it in very different ways. Like if you call about 60s love, you take out 60s love. I once got to see a lot of comments on the YouTube chat box, different people were dissecting the song in different ways. Someone has just lost his girlfriend and he was like mourning and singing this song, and one of the other guys, I remember, he was just married and he was going to his honeymoon and he was enjoying the song and with his wife. So the different kinds of emotions that people portray. That's why we don't have a video of it. People really asked us for making a music video of Six's Love, but we would like to keep it that way. You visualize what you feel hearing the song. If you like it, you will visualize in your own way. So this is how we perceive music.
That's absolutely spot on. I think we also, when we were discussing 60s Love, we felt that the song was, or the arrangement of the song was talking about hope or some sort of state that you are when you are with your loved one and just trying to take them to a land far away. So it was our interpretation, but I completely agree that it can be interpreted in numerous number of ways. But
exactly,
you guys keep on mentioning Khoye Jawa Shad, but this brings me to one of my next question, that what is your personal favorite of the songs that you have done so far, each one of you, if you can name them?
Shubhra Prabhat, hands down.
Shubhra Prabhat.
Oh,
Shubhra Prabhat for me.
The very
interesting.
But
first song
surprisingly, Shubhra Prabhat has been so underrated, and
I agree.
Shubhra Prabhat is one of the songs we never really agree on playing live. I don't know why, but I love Shubhra
I
Prabhat.
joined
And
level
we-
5 because
and-
of Shubhra Prabhat.
And my very first song was Shubhra Prabhat, and I thought it would be the #1 hit, but unfortunately, we got 60s Love.
no,
Okay, so
that's for the
there's
mass
this
people.
an anonymous level of excitement around this track, right? That I mean, everyone was like, "This one, nothing else."
For me
But
personally,
Maybe because we
my
do have
favorite songs
shows.
among the album.
Yeah, because we do have shows in this month, in the upcoming month, and we want to do Shubhra Prabhat from now on. So we're trying to convince Guppu bhai to agree with us and do Shubhra Prabhat live. Actually,
this brings
My
me
personal
Yeah, go ahead.
favorite song, I don't know if you guys heard it, Arami. That song doesn't have a drum. This is the first music video that we did. We were all kids back then. If you see Razin, if you see me, we are we were kids back then.
Mhm.
But the song was done in one chord. The song doesn't have any chords. That's like one chord, D, that is.
Yeah.
So the dimension that the song has, like I can sleep. I used to sleep listening to the demos of the song. For me personally, it will always be a personal favorite song, although I don't have any drum square on it. But then again, it is my personal favorite.
Yeah. I mean, we have heard all of your tracks, and we have
Thanks a
our
lot.
own personal favorites.
Just
What's
want to
your
mention
favorite?
one thing. Just want to
What's your
mention
favorite,
very
guys? I wanna know.
before I don't mention it, I want to take this opportunity to mention it, that the whole album, we have said this multiple times on record, that the whole album is this is one of those albums that I've heard that I rate each single track is extremely beautiful in its own way, right?
Absolutely.
Each track is
Means a lot,
unique.
brothers. Means a lot.
They're unique musically, lyrically, emotionally. It's the whole spectrum.
Absolutely.
If I have to say it, it's a whole spectrum and a complete package. One of the best albums, absolutely. I mean, I cannot stress this
Thanks
enough.
a lot.
Thank you.
No,
So
he keeps on mentioning it to me on WhatsApp. I mean, I swear he has mentioned it multiple times that after I think 13, 14 years, he has heard an album which has all the songs which are really unique and special. And this is extremely true. I mean, if you just pick one song and play it, you still cannot help but hum that particular track. It's so unique.
Means a lot, brothers. Means a lot.
I mean, very subjective, right? This is music is very subjective. How you perceive it, how you consume it, how you digest it, and it also depends a lot on what stage you are in your life. So, as you were mentioning, when you were kids, or something else comes out of it, right? When you have a family, your perception changes, and the what comes out of you is also very different. But I want to get to the live performances, right? So you just mentioned that, that's going to happen. I wanna ask you, what does go on when you go on gigs, right? And what is the crowd's choice? How does a crowd interacts with your music? Can you describe the picture, paint it?
Well,
Well,
we are really we would say that we are very picky about shows because we all have our lives. We all are corporate, you know, so corporate guys and who are working 9 to 5 every day, and so on afterwards also. So that's what happens. Life happened to us. We were kids back then. We had time. We made music, but yeah, what happened? Like we get a lot of shows offers, but we tend to do shows on weekends. And our approach to the stage is we always wanna go to the stage synced. Like always, we get on the stage. Yaber and Ashiq, they look after the whole sound design, how these things are, if the sound is properly in the monitors and all those stuff. And always, yeah, obviously there are Sisi's Love, there are Khoja Chad, there is Room 17, Shotto Mitte, one of the songs that this is really getting all the hypes right now. So people ask for it, and what we do is we just enjoy because this is our getaway. Like after all those working hours, that is what we want to do, sing along. So when we see people are singing our song, that inspires us. And we had a moment, like dark moments in our band also. Like the road was always not that easy. So we had times when we thought, okay, we should give it up. Then some of the shows,
in fact,
yes.
In fact, we did shows.
Yeah.
Where the crowd was just in numbers. If I tell you in numbers, there were 2 to 3 people in the crowd. We even did shows like that. So now, to be very honest, we don't focus on how many people are at the crowd. Rather, we focus on the type of shows we are doing. Is a crowd, does the crowd want us? Does the crowd want us, or is the place convenient enough for us to go and perform? And when we are on stage, we actually focus on enjoying ourselves. To be very honest, we don't focus on doing extreme stuff. We just enjoy. We communicate with each other on stage. When the routine is that Guppu goes on the stage first, kind of, and he sets up the drums, and he's more focused on that. In the meantime, Yaber and Ashiq are responsible to set up all the sounds on stage. And what I do is I start interacting with the crowd, so that the crowd is not feeling deprived of the time we are taking for sound check. So that is our regular routine. And when we start doing our songs, we try to convey to our crowd about that we are doing a certain song and talk about the song a bit, and then we start performing on it. And we leave it up to the crowd if they are more into the song or not. We just go with the songs. And sometimes sometimes the organizers do come up with requests that please do this song or that song. So we try to do those. Yeah.
Also, if
There's no
it's the
particular
gig, like a gig in a university with filled out auditoriums, or just a very small gig, just an indie gig with like 10 people in the crowd, we perform the same.
It's more important for it's more important for us to feel relaxed and feel prepared to get out of all the busy schedules we have throughout the week, and enjoy ourselves. That is more important to us.
Basically,
we're very comfortable with each other on stage. Basically, what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
We have to be comfortable. We have to feel the comfort.
Yeah, like we have fun. We're like talking. We're like joking around. We're like playing around and like shit like that on the stage.
And recently now we enjoy so much that we dance on the stage.
What we do is like we set the moods right. You have
Mm.
you don't
Exactly.
wanna look people staring at you, right at you, and don't know what to do. So
Exactly.
what
And
we do,
yeah,
if there is something going on with the guitars, like the sounding is not properly done, Razin makes a joke with me, with Aiedid
Mm.
Bhai. Set the moods right. And I
Yeah.
personally prefer the shows with niche people because you can easily interact with them.
Mm.
You can so see the emotions on their eyes.
Yeah.
So what we do is try to set the mood right, whatever the situation is,
The
whatever
mood
the
is
song
set
one
on the
thing
is.
I
stage
want
and
to
it
add,
radiates
another thing I want to
outwards to
add,
the audience, basically.
another thing is that if we feel comfortable on stage, if we are performing in a comfortable in a manner, so the crowd will see us, and the crowd will also feel comfortable seeing us perform. If we're stiff, if we're not comfortable, if you're not moving, if we are not interacting with the band, they won't be seeing a band there. They will see a bunch of people who are playing instruments. So that is something I really try to focus on. If we are having fun up on stage, the listeners or the crowd will also have some fun seeing us, and they will also enjoy. So I think the body
And what
language,
we do,
the energy we give away, so that is attracted by the crowd. So that is something I
and
believe.
what we do, and what we do all together after a gig, we go to eat.
Eat.
We get to eat and a lot of
Yeah,
foods.
we eat a lot. We eat a lot. Yeah.
But
We
And
are
this
all
is
there's
plus
another
sizes
thing
brothers.
I want to share with you is that uh, in particular, if someone sees us, if someone knows us, if they are our relatives or our family members or our friends or colleagues, whenever they see us perform on the stage, they are most of them or all of them are really surprised because it's really
True.
hard for them to actually believe that there is a separate type of personality we have on stage. Like, I'm really a quiet and a person who doesn't talk too much in office. So one of my colleagues went to a show and he just said that is it Razin Bhai? It was hard for him to believe that I'm the same person. So this
Same thing
happens to
happened with
Ashiq as
me
well. This happens to
myself.
Guppu
Always.
Bhai as well,
I
Yaber
went
as
to
well.
a very crucial meeting. I went to a very crucial meeting with my boss. It was supposed to be very scary because I had made a mistake and I was about to get scolded up. And I was having lunch with my boss, and suddenly two of these kids, they recognized me and they came. You are the guy from level 5. You are the guy who sang "60s Love." I was like, I didn't sing it, but yeah, I composed it. So he took pictures of it, and my boss was like, "Wow, who are you, man?" I was like, "Sir, this is my another personality." So thankfully, I got hold of that day, and I somehow survived. So my boss was like, "Oh, I'm working with a guy who is like this." I was like, "Yeah." So you should feel lucky. You have me in your team. So yeah. So I somehow got away with those.
But these insights are really interesting, and you guys mentioned that you have performed in front of the crowd, which composed of only two or three people, and then there
Yeah.
was one point that you were really deciding to quit the band or conclude the band. You have faced those situations as well, which brings me to another question: that what are the challenges that you think the up and coming bands of the Bangladesh face? Because there is certain kind of music, the commercial stuff, I think they make their mark somehow, even if it's not like their masses, but they somehow make their mark. But for the bands who are doing underground music or indie music, what challenges do you see in future for them,
including you guys, including you
including you
all.
guys? Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, the new bands, what they focus on is getting attention. The new bands focus more
Exposure.
on attention, on exposure, on getting likes, getting views. So musicians, the new bands should focus on what they're making, their songs, if they're unique or not, if what how they're how they're sounding. That is something they should be focused on, not getting exposure, not getting crowd, how many crowd they are, and how much money they are getting, or how many shows they are getting. That should not be the focus. And another thing is that a challenge, I would say, is making music or doing music professionally is not that accepting to in our society, in our country. People don't
Let's
like.
prospectors as well.
Yeah, it doesn't have that much prospect. But a particular musician has to struggle a lot. That struggling time is very difficult and challenging in our country. So people tend to do music as a part-time activity in our country. So that is one big challenge we have. That is why people, in the short time that a particular musician is doing music, they try to get
Yeah.
as much exposure they can. But this should not be the
Yeah.
case.
Exactly. This other day, this young bunch of musicians came to me and said, "How do we get to your level? How do we get this? You know, how do you
Exactly.
guys
We
do
never,
something?"
when
I
we
just,
launched the
I just
album,
said one thing. Yeah, I just said one thing. That, look, bro, if you are into music, if you like making music, just do with it, regardless of what people think. Because I gave an example, which is very, life changing for me as well. I gave an example like back in 2020, we had only like 200K views on 60s Love. I'm talking about 2020.
Oh wow.
Now we just saw that we went like 10 million views.
Yeah.
So
We were
it didn't
actually
stop
pretty
us.
proud with the 200K views, not gonna lie.
We
We were
were
like
really- I
200K.
we weren't tracking
We
it.
were like
We weren't
200 fucking K. That's so
all
good.
of a sudden, Guppu bhai or Yaber, I don't really remember.
Yaber.
One of them actually suddenly said that, look, guys, the views are wrapping up. The views are increasing day by day in every single
He
respect.
actually came up with the prediction that, that after 2 months
Yeah.
it will be this, after 1 year it will be 1 million.
I got on
We weren't
Excel.
at
I
all
plotted
all
the charts
algorithm.
and everything.
Yeah.
So I say
So-
to the younger musicians that just make music. You are not getting the exposure doesn't really mean that you are not a bad musician. If you do music from your heart,
as the advocate of young people, can I interject something? As I'm the youngest.
yeah,
of the
please.
bunch here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kid,
Okay.
tell me.
So yeah, I had that mentality, that if you do good music, do it for the sake of it, right? Don't do it for the sake of fame. Don't do it for the sake of anything. Just you have something in your head, you need to get it out. That is why I do music. As simple as that. I have a tune in my head. I can contribute to a song. That is what I do. That is the only thing that I have going on. But then again, it comes to it. Now the controversial part, not doing anything about it is like very like counterproductive.
It's just bad. It's just bad.
Yeah,
Criminal.
but then again, people are hungry for attention. People are hungry for exposure. People's attention span has gotten like to 30 seconds because of TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So you have to grab their attention and pull them in, and then show them, yeah, we have good stuff. Like that is very important. I know of hundreds of good bands that have like 10K views that I actually take inspiration from and put it into Khoye Jao Chaden, which has like 500K views.
Even most importantly, do you remember, Yaber, when we were tracking to me the latest track that we done on lyrics? I made you guys hear a Pakistani band song, like from your country. I got hold of this band Oj, who were the Pepsi Medal of the band's winner. And I knocked them on Instagram that they have a song called Sukun. I was like, it was like, I heard of like thousands of times in a day. And I was giving stories and they got contact with me. So I was talking about, okay, why on earth this song has so much less views, man? I just do not understand. So doesn't really matter.
What the new generation is good at doing is putting their stuff out there and making it seen by a lot of people. You see it at first, right? Then you take it or leave it. But you have to see it first. You have to know it exists. I have to go digging for like Japanese math rock bands because I'm into that stuff. But those bands do not show up on anything. I have to go digging, and because of Spotify playlist or something, I know a few bands like that. But those are not the bands that come to your YouTube recommendation if you don't go searching for it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So
Absolutely true.
what the young generation is good at doing is making themselves seen. So I don't think there have to be a balance. You have to do genuinely good music that comes out of you like naturally, not forcing it, not making a commercialized product, as I would say, and also do the exposure part, not just one. You can't do just one. It has to be a balance of both, and which is
if I talk about
our generation lacked, to be honest.
Yeah,
and
we
if I talk about a challenge we as a band we are facing is that all of us are doing a primary job, and we are finding it very challenging and challenging managing our time. So as Guppu bhai was saying that we prefer doing shows on weekends. At the same time, we record ourselves on weekends. We do studio works. We do mixing and mastering works at weekends. So weekends are the only times we utilize. So this is something we are facing challenge with, because making one song needs a lot of time, a lot of attention, and more important thing is having the mentality to sit around and doing it and working on it. That is something we find very challenging as a band.
As the things progress with age, with time, these things do come up. But you mentioned, Yaber mentioned a very interesting thing, that the young people, the newer generation, are very good at putting things out and being discoverable. I want to ask you all that with the advent of tech and how the tech is integrated, and the newer generation are kind of native of the land of these new technologies, is it making your life easier, like with the advent of YouTube, Spotify, SoundClouds, and all other platform? Or how do you see yourself uh, utilizing them for your music?
There
Yes,
are two ways of answering
yet
that.
all of them has made our life easier. And putting our songs to a platform which is accessible to a mass people is something very very important to us, and we are really thankful for that. But at the same time, the negative part is what Yaber was saying, that putting putting things out there is easy, and it has become easier. But at the same time, making good stuff has become tougher. So that is something. Yeah, I would like to say.
Also, what I would like to say is like bands like which we are not what I wouldn't say the up and coming young bloods, right? We are not that, and uh, most of our viewers but do come from that demographic. So there is that difference between the listeners and us, because most of the listeners are like like the young blood generation, right? Yeah, so there is a bit of a generational gap there, but I think it's not that much. And of course, our music is available on all platforms. But yeah, we are behind on some trends. We got on Spotify a bit late. We are not still on TikTok officially, but our songs are unofficially have been uploaded to TikTok, and people are making use of that. So like, we are a little bit behind on that kind of stuff, like behind, just a little bit behind the curve. But then again,
for me, I
we have
kind of
to
like this because as a band, I would like to stay low key. I would like to stay
exactly
because
exactly. So
you don't
then
have
again,
to.
yeah, yeah, that comes ahead. Like, do we wanna really put emphasis on those platforms, or how like our content, or yeah. So there is a distinction I want to make. We're a band. We're not content creators. That's all I
Yeah.
Good
would like to
point.
say.
Very good point.
We're a band.
Excellent point.
Yeah, that's it. there's a thing that with us, like, we don't want to do any exposure stuff. Like we said, we didn't really believe. We did shows in front. Literally, there were two friends of mine standing right there only. So we didn't really expect that we were gonna do shows in front of 5,000 people, and we were having just as fun as two guys were standing right there, and we were having the same fun in front of the 5,000 people. It doesn't really make a change to us. We'd like to keep it that way, as long as we're doing music. That's our approach.
We're gonna make music. We're gonna put them on platforms that people can find it on, like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and stuff. People will find it on there, and yeah, if they like it, they like it, and if they want to follow us for updates and everything, we're very traditional in that kind of sense.
I like the point that you said that we are going to continue making music, because that's at least what we want. But
we are working on at least 8 songs. Let me check the folder. Wait.
That's what I was coming to. What are we expecting from level 5 then in future? How soon are we expecting?
Man, these songs are gonna be like, next level. Because the emotions.
Before talking about new songs, I want to add up that satisfying Guppu Bhai before the master one, the final version.
Oh my God!
It's something I've given up, and I've given up on it for a very long time. And I've been saying to Yaber and Ashiq, just go, don't pay any heed to his disappointments about the song.
I'm really skeptical. Like
before Khoye Jawa Chand was released, like before it was released.
Oh my God!
We were, doing the final mix and
okay, you're gonna make fun of me right now.
People are not gonna like
and
this.
The
This
new
is
song
not
we
a
are
good song.
making,
This is a
Guppu
very
has
bad
already said. The new song we are making, Guppu has already said that this song won't be good.
Yeah.
But it will be.
I'm gonna tell you a story. So we did this show.
Guppu has a famous catchphrase. These songs won't work.
Okay, and eventually that works, because when we made
this song won't work. Guppu Bhai 2020 about Khoye Jawa Chand.
And he actually
challenged us on
views. Actually challenged us on views.
Okay, don't make fun of me. I just want to tell a story, man. Come on. Okay, so
we had a bet.
I embarrassed myself.
How long is it gonna take for like 10K views?
1 week. In 1 week.
In 1 week, yeah.
Is so one thing I want to conclude this topic is that whenever Guppu Bhai says it's not gonna work, it actually makes us work
more confident
on it more. And no, it makes us work on it more and actually proving him wrong that no, this song is gonna work. So
I hate you for this.
I'm literally now actually worried. I'm literally worried about if he says this song's gonna work, then what will happen?
Reverse jinx. He's reverse jinxing.
So
I'm gonna talk about a story. I'm gonna embarrass myself telling a story. So I'm making myself embarrassed. So we did this show. So we did the song To Me. Our upcoming song name is To Me. So that is I said that this song is not gonna work. Let's not do that. People is not gonna work.
The crowd response is not gonna be well. People are gonna be like, it's a new song. They don't know it. He was like
basically it's a love song. Basically, it's a love song, and it describes about the feelings that you get when you are first in love, the first sight. The first butterflies that you get when you're in love, and everything is like working on. So I was like, this is not gonna work. This is very cliche. People are not gonna like it. Why are we doing on this show? So no, let's not do it. When I started playing, I saw that like thousands of people were jumping. And Yaber,
it's a very upbeat song, by the way.
It's an upbeat song. And Yaber, he has wireless. I don't know why I gave him this wireless system. He ran up to me and said, "Why? What I said? You said it won't work. I was literally playing
I
a
did the
song,
same thing.
and I
I
was
did
like,
the
okay.
same thing
Oh.
with you.
He did the same. She just said,
Yaber
I'm
did the
playing
same to
song.
me.
And
I was
even
like,
even
okay.
at that moment when all the people were jumping, I was jumping. Every single band member was jumping. Guppu said, "Nah, it's not going well. হবে না, জমবে না." He was saying like, and it makes us work more on it. And coming back to the topic, we are actually working on a single which is called To Me, and it has been working on since before Eid, I guess, in June. We started working on the master and mixing in June. So it is at a stage, I would say, close to being completed, and we do have plans to release it in this year. And we do have plans to make music video. We are not sure about it yet. We're working on the script, and this song is again. This song is what Guppu said. This song is for new lovers. Not really. It is for new lovers as well as people who are in love for a very long time and actually not with their loved one for a very long time and want to meet them again. So this is something the song is about, and this song is
Hello, everyone.
almost at the end. The vocal takes are scheduled in next week. So this song will be
Remaining.
released in this month and this year actually. And we are more focused on making new songs, 8 new songs for our second album, which we do have plans to release in next year. We are not sure about it yet because we're not, as we said earlier, we are finding it very challenging to come up with enough time to work on it. So this is what I would like to say.
Awesome. By the way, we had a lot of fun. We relived a lot of moments that you actually lived
I am
together.
I'm really sorry for this. I had like it's very hectic. So I'm really sorry for this. I just came home. I plugged my charger in the phone. I only had 2%, and then I couldn't actually get into the meeting because of the internet connection. I'm using data connection, so it's a bit shaky.
That's all right. It's incredibly kind of you that you are here. But I was just catching you up that we were having a lot of fun reliving the moments that you actually lived together on a stage, off stage, and we were all talking about that.
Thank you.
All right. One thing that we were wondering as we listen to your music, you also mentioned that about the identity and about the signature. Yes, as soon as I blind play any song in the album, and I would recognize a signature that okay, this is level 5, right? And you were talking about that, but having that frequency and signature, which other art group, band, musicians would you love to collab with? Especially in Bangladesh, if I talk about, or beyond Bangladesh.
Because this culture is getting a bit popular here in Pakistan. Bands are collaborating, coming up with songs together. So is there any band in your mind which you would like to collaborate with in future?
If we do collaborate, it won't sound like level 5. Let's just put it that way. And our priority is fully on to make it sound as much as level 5. So the collaboration scene here in Bangladesh is also booming, but more of in the commercial side. In the bands, this is not really, probably in the mainstream there is happening, but in the lower niche, the indie scene, in the rock scene, it's not happening.
Well, the
But what
same
we do,
5
we
people
all-
play in 15 different bands. They're inherently collaborating with each other.
That's what
Ashiq
happened.
plays in another band. We're already collaborating with Rockaphobic. Like,
So, yeah, well,
like if you want to think about it, but collaborating with another artist is like, we 5 have a very hard time collaborating with each other. So
It's a
if we
tough.
introduce
Exactly.
another variable in the mix, just my thought. Obviously, we're
Yeah,
open to
but
it. If
what
something comes
we
naturally,
have,
we will be accepting of
yeah,
it. But we are not
But
going
but
out
if
seeking
you
it.
but if you have a chance to collab with Ed Sheeran, wouldn't you do it?
yeah, obviously,
It has to come
obviously. Why
naturally.
not?
I'm not gonna, force it,
Exactly.
because
You
if you
know,
force it,
I,
it's not
I
gonna
was
be a good song.
exactly. It's just not like I'm gonna wake up one day and send a mail to Ed Sheeran that I want to make a collab with you. Please, would you be kind
No, no,
enough
no. Of
to
course not.
make a collab with me? No, it has to be, on the spot. So yeah,
And we
as
have
long
to
as it
focus
sounds
if
like
we
level
want to
5,
collaborate. Exactly. If we are going to collaborate with Ed Sheeran, then we do need to. He needs to sound like I did Bhai when he sings "Six Is Love." If he sings "Six Is Love," so
yeah.
All all
But
right.
what we have in our scene, we have very good friendship with all the bands, upcoming bands. So that is what I like about the community right now. We have all these bondings, and if anything is happening, any show is happening, every band is reaching to other. So, bro, that there's this concert going on. Would you like to do participate in the show? So what? This is what I didn't have back in my time, because I had to sell tickets to get a slot. That is what we call push sell here. But if we have to get a slot, we have to sell 100 tickets. Then we'll get a slot, and then we'll get to perform. So rather now, bands are so united, and there are a lot of organizations, a lot of firms that are organizing concerts constantly. It's not like just level 5. There are a lot of bands who are participating, and people are going, buying tickets. That is what gives me hope about the new gen. So
Also, the new gen scene
yeah,
is very diverse. We have more
diverse.
educated
Yeah.
listeners now, that people listen to a lot of genres, not just a cliche mainstream genres. When I was growing up, everyone was listening to metal. That was it. Everyone was listening to Lamb of God, Iron Maiden, Cradle of Filth, Bring Me the Horizon, Bullet from a Valentine. That is what everyone was listening to. That is what everyone was covering. That is what if you go to a gig, that is what you'd hear being covered. But now people are more into diverse stuff. If I go into a show, no two acts are gonna sound even in the
The
similar
same.
ballpark. It will just not. So then again, coming back to your question about collabing, collabing like on a studio scenario is like a bit more far-fetched in our case, but we have been open to on-stage collaborations, um, people guest artists like played with us on stage, like my good friend Zafran. Before going abroad, he was like, yeah, I want to do a show with this guy. Yeah, like cool. He was just hanging around with us in the backstage. Like, yeah, come on. Like he just played keyboard on 60s Love. Yeah, like that. And Ishmam Bhai on That's in the Park wanted to um, do a wanted to do a show with us, but that didn't pan out exactly. But yeah, like that is another thing. That is a very organic thing, which I was coming back to. It just happens naturally. Like if that kind of collaboration happens naturally in the studio realm, we'll be open to it. But we're not going seeking out like, yeah, next song we're gonna be collaborating with that artist. Let's see if we can get them. We're not going through that.
Fair enough.
But this talks about the inclusive nature of music that we are seeing currently in Bangladesh. I mean, we are very new to exploring music from this region, right? And we have been exploring very diverse set of musicians. And I personally get this feeling that this whole scene is coming kind of out of the underground area or shadow to a little bit of mainstream. People are talking, people know names, people know their music, their albums, their tracks. It's getting known, it's getting discovered. And that shows the inclusive nature of musicians, because we also see that a lot of musicians work, a lot of bands work in other bands, right? But that brings me to the hope of music, right? So we were hoping for new music from you guys, and you just also let us know. And we're gonna lose a lot of sleep over that, but that's besides the point. About the future of music from our region, from this region. How do you see, what do you see, where this music scene is evolving towards? Because we're already seeing that it is blooming, but what it will become when it blooms, right? This is what I want to get your insights on.
Well, if it blooms, like, what I analyze from this region, the music from this region, from our region, what I personally feel, the music scenario itself is getting very diverse. Back in the days, like Yaber said, we used to have only metal and metal. Nobody used to sing Backstreet Boys, but those days are coming back in my country, as like I would like to say. So there are a lot of indie bands coming on. There are a lot of bands who are trying to make different sounds. And what I love the most is the listeners. The number of listeners has grown so much in our country. No matter if you made a song, just you will have a listener. That I can assure you. And that inspires you to make more music. So it's gonna bloom. And when it's gonna bloom, I guess the more diversification, the more crowd engagement there would be there. That I personally believe. But what I don't like is, you said about collaboration. But I don't like the idea of collaboration in band, because if you are a band, you should stick to the sound that you create. If you are collaborating, it might sound better, but I fear you might lose your identity or you might lose the direction that you used to have. So, and
coming back to the
most likely,
discussion that coming back to the point that I did, it has to come, naturally. If it fits the music, if collaborating with another artist actually enriches the music itself, then great. If it's done just for the views of two different separate channels, then no.
Yeah.
And
Right.
also, I would like to say, what you said about blooming. There was a time when, there is a peak, there is a stagnant, when every band sounds like that one band. Of course, there was a time in Pakistan, that every band just sounds like Jal. Like there was a time. Yeah. Like there was this thing that every new band coming up, like I want to make that song several thousand times more, because why? That song's popular.
True.
We had that thing as well. We have a very popular band, Arcel. Every new band coming out just sounded like another knock of Arcel. We had that in Chittagong. Everyone just, like, every new band sounded the same riffs, same exact production, same drum. Everything was like, we had the stage. But now, why? Because that is what was selling, and people would actually try to sell you what sells. So it's very understandable of them. But now people are getting into more diverse cultures and more diverse routes of music. As Guppu Bhai said, if you go to a show, no two bands' music is gonna sound the same. Like that is the peak of music community, that I would say. Everyone's is very tight knit. Everyone is it's a very close circle of musicians. We just perform with the same 5 bands like over and over again, but we are very different bands with very different sounds and very different personalities, and you would be very easily distinguish the bands easily. And if that band's release a new song, you will instantly recognize, yeah, is that band. That was lost.
And mostly if the whole scenario blooms, you'll get to, you'll have more options to explore.
There is
like,
music
even
for
if I'm
everyone.
doing indie,
There should be music
exactly. Even if I'm doing indie music, if I had a rough day and I'm feeling very aggressive, I can go to another his musician's channel. I can hear their song. Not necessarily has to be the traditional bands.
Mm-hmm.
It might have. I have heard a lot of songs which has like 4K views, 5K views, but at that particular moment, it captivated me, regardless of the genre. It was a metal song. It was a like Japanese indie song, which I didn't really understand what's happening. So calculative and all. But I'm more of a guy who thinks simply. But at that moment, I was feeling perplexed. So at that moment, that song kind of suited me. So even if the music's in blooms, I guess it will be helpful for all the musicians and the listeners to surf into the different dimensions, regardless of their emotions and other stuff.
Also, there is this one thing that people say as compliment if they hear a very good band. This band doesn't sound like it's from this country. Like if you
Exactly.
hear a very good band, they're like, it doesn't sound like a Bangladeshi band. Like, why not? Why do you think Bangladesh is not capable of producing this sound? Like
Absolutely.
there is this
Exactly.
guy called Khan Imran, right? Very good vocal.
Yeah.
He made a single. He just one individual made an EP of 4 very modern metal, very modern metal EP. It just sounds like every other modern metal EP that that caliber of music, and it just came out of like a few blocks away from my my place, and like I want to believe that is possible. People are like, this band, this music does not sound like it's from Bangladesh. It was not made in Bangladesh. Like like it's a stigma that goes everywhere. Like, why do you think Bangladeshi music has to sound
Sound like
specifically?
Bangladeshi.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and there is merit to there. Again, that I said, for the past like decade, every band sounded like that one Bangladeshi band. So we have the image. Everyone's trying to be Warfaze and Arcel, and like everyone's trying to be that. But now people are trying to find their own identity, which is obviously heavily inspired by other music from very diverse places and artists. So the mix of all those things creates something new, which is like, which is exactly not your traditional Bangladeshi band music that you would expect listening to.
This is exactly what we were wondering as well, that when we began this journey, especially the music from Bangladesh, we came to realization that the rock game and the metal game was just like few levels above, level 5 above. Okay, wordplay, bad pun. I'm sorry. But it was indeed that we were surprised at how good that is. And then once we start exploring, we realized that a lot of people also kind of identified with that music, metal, rock, hard rock. And I was wondering, how come, what is so special? What is this phenomena that the population there, the music lovers there, gravitate towards metal and hard rock and rock so much? When we span out of the region and you go a little bit of west, and then you have a very different sort of music coming out, right? From Bollywood and from the classical music and all. But then suddenly, across the border, you have such huge influence of metal and rock and hard rock, to our surprise, but also to our amazement that we love that music. So we were happy. But how come?
Let me get a bit academic here. There was this study about how socioeconomic status of a country like dictates what the youth is driven to. More the how would I say it? The more actionable youth. So obviously there is the mainstream media, there is Bollywood. Obviously there is like there is this movement going on of the the typical music that you hear, that is there. But again, just beneath the surface of it, there is another group of people and community that is thriving on the underground. Not just metal, there is also hip hop underground as well. The visceral raps and everything, they're bonded by the same hip hop underground and the metal underground are not very different. We do shows together. There is like one hip hop act and then goes metal act. Like that. Like underground is underground because they convey the same feeling in different flavor, the same angst, the same unrest. It's heavily dictated by the the where the upbringing of the listeners and where they're
Yeah.
coming from, their societal status around them also, which drives peer pressure as well. If you see other people seeking asylum to this kind of underground music, other people will sort it out as well. So the whole thing just,
Then again, what I believe, regardless of all these subsidies of music in the music scenes, you need to explore. Like I do indie, but I know that a hip hop community exists and how they operate. And I know that a heavy metal community exists and I know how they operate. And I know my community as well. But you have to respect it and you have to explore it. If you like, okay, I know a hip hop, I know hip hop community, I don't really go by to that. This is not done. You might learn something from that which might be helpful for your musicality. So I always
also when I
always
was in school, the metalheads only used to, there was a group like, we're metalheads, we used to wear black t-shirts with like skulls on them, have spike wristbands and everything,
nail polish,
the
black nail
typical
polish,
black nail polish, eyeliner, the typical metalhead. And we would like, yeah, like pop music sucks and everything, like, but nowadays people are more, like, people have a broader uh, taste palette, I guess.
sense. Yeah, exactly.
They're accepting of the uh, inherent beauty of the music itself rather than the genre. And still
That
there's
is what
a,
I believe personally, because
yeah,
you
that is
have
what
to
I would like to
explore.
believe. Obviously there is still gaps in that, but yeah, that is where the most of the community is driving to be. The most vocal people in the
And you have to
community
be
are the people
appreciative.
with
And you
those
have to be
mentality.
very appreciative. You have to be very appreciative of whatever you are exploring. You might not like it, but you have to appreciate it. So you don't know, a person who is
Absolutely.
making a song might not be that popular, but if you appreciate that person, he might come up with a very good song that you want to cherish. So this is what I personally believe. You have to be very humble. You have to be very humble if you're a musician. You have to be very humble, very low key, as by me. So otherwise, you have to explore. I explore things. I always have my headphones. Basically, I'm a sales guy, so I'm always wandering around the country, wandering around the city. So I have always my headphones with me. I'm always, exploring Pakistani songs. I'm exploring Ukrainian songs. This Ukraine and Russia war brought me to this scenario also, because the musician, they were affected by it, and I got to know two or three artists. I was so influenced by them. They were indie artists of those countries, and they have brilliant sort of music. So I have to explore, and I got to know them, and then I appreciated them. So it made my sense more broader, that I would like to somehow bring that influence to level 5, and it might work. You never know. So regardless of these countries, these boundaries, you have to be very exploring, and you have to be very appreciative. Other than that, you're just gonna, roam around and, wandering around in the sea. That is what I believe.
One last thing that I want to ask before we conclude. So, as you mentioned, you have been into metal, then you have certain influences. There is, do you think that there is a sense of identity that Bangladeshi people have within their music, and that's why they are not able to relate to the influences that you guys may have? And do you kind of feel some sort of resistance within the viewers who are experiencing your song and they think that you might be deviating from the identity? I mean, Yaber put a really good point that it does not necessarily need to sound a specific way to be a Bangladeshi track. You can be exploring multiple genres, but do you kind of feel this particular disconnect when you are doing the music and putting it out for the general people?
No, not really. No. In our country, people will always listen to songs that are good, that sounds good. So it doesn't really happen what you asked. People you will always come and listen to good music?
I always believe on purity. I always believe in the purity of the song. If you make a song pretentiously, it might catch a few catch a few people, but in the long run, what are we saying? Like Six is Love. It has. I just want to give this example on and on. It has only 200K back in 2020. The story behind it is very pure because we already went through that period where we found out the letter from 1960s and we made a song out of it. So we knew that purity was there. And when people started listening, that is what I love about our country, that people are starting to listening to various kind of songs. They don't
Absolutely.
like play a song after 1 minute changing the song. They listen to the whole song. And when they get the essence of the song, if you get the essence of any song, it kind of gets on your head, sticks for a while. So I do believe whatever emotions we are putting into the song, it will captivate the people who can relate to it. That's it. And people will gonna listen to it regardless of the numbers. So
also, I want to
that
point
is what
out
we
there
believe.
has been a revolution going on in Bangladesh, of the revolution of the music enthusiast who go and seek out the more absurd tracks and very underperforming albums and everything, and they are very, very active about it. They will make their friends and peers forcefully listen to them. Like they're kind of like that. Why won't you listen to this? This is very good. You have to listen to it. Like they will keep bombarding and sharing posts about it, making content on it. You know, that that very vocal niche of the music community has been driving bands like the underground bands who didn't have like 50K views like a few years prior to this. And this everything goes hand in hand. This revolution, people being into diverse music, people making music that is more diverse. So everyone's coming together. People are more
Also,
acceptance.
we don't only need listeners. We need music enthusiasts also.
Yeah.
Because there are people like who explore music, who wants to know about the process of it, regardless of they might not be the musicians. They don't know anything about music, but they have that interest to sort of dive into the process, how this song is made, how this song is created. So this kind of inspired, because it's a give and take situation, like if you inspire
Also,
if
this
you
kind of people
inspire,
usually have a big following, and whatever they are trying to push out there is accepted, because that is how the whole situation works. So we have people who are more accepting of diverse music, we have artists making diverse music for them, and we have the music enthusiast bringing them all together. Like, you want to listen to diverse stuff, here are 5 artists that you should listen to. Like, that is what was missing from the equation before. And I think because of that, I personally found so many good Bangladeshi bands that I didn't knew existed like a few years back. Now I'm like fans of them.
The ideology that you're talking about, that you subscribe to, keeping things pure and simple, is what made us also fall in love with your music, right? I just want to say that you guys are exceptionally inspirational.
Absolutely.
To people who you might not know, right? And you might not think that they are getting inspired by your music. Exceptionally inspirational, I would say that.
Means a lot. Means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I would want to conclude by saying, showing my gratitude that I cannot show at all, right? That thank you so much that you took the time out. It was absolute pleasure and honor to have you. And please keep on music, keep making music, which you are. And I mean, we love your music. People love your music.
Thank you.
And hopefully, through us, together, we make the borders porous. You know, things filter through, things go through.
Yeah.
And we hope to have this similar conversation with you sometime in the future.
Absolutely.
But
thanks to you guys, like I'm just gonna now the formal part, okay? I was just gonna say that like when I first saw someone tagged me on YouTube that you guys did a review of our song, so I was so honored
shocked.
seeing you guys.
I was really shocked. I'm like,
he was
wow.
shocked. I was honored. I was like, okay, like, and I told my mom, these two Pakistani guys, they are doing.
Wow.
My mom is Pakistani. Like she was born in the Pakistan era. You know, the East Pakistan, West Pakistan. So she was so proud that because she learned. She was a student when she used to sing the national anthem of your country, Pakistan. So she has this soft corner for Pakistan because she's from that country. She was born in that country. So she was like, I can now believe that you have made good music. That now that they have reviewed your songs, that you have made good music. I have to go through this, and thanks to you guys, I have followed your channel ever since. Whenever I am in a meeting, I'm in a break, I always watch your videos, and the way you describe the song, like I can feel like from thousand miles away from you, we are very like-minded people because you review the songs that is actually worth it. You do not review songs that actually doesn't have any meaning of it, that doesn't bring inspiration. So I'm really honored that we got to meet through this social media, and we have this conversation. We are having this conversation right now, and you guys are doing amazing job. You don't have any idea that what sort of inspiration you are giving to the people of Bangladesh. And when I see Bangladeshi people commenting on your channel to review those songs, and you're reviewing it, that shows the generosity of you and the kind of music lovers you are. The world needs you, this type of guys. Trust me, more of you. Trust me. So keep doing on that, brother, and just maybe we will someday meet. It's you never know when what happen. But trust me, it was an honor meeting you guys. We have been chatting with you guys. We've been holding on to you guys, and the way you wanted all those stories, all those the details of it, that shows how much of passionate music lovers you guys are. So this sort of people doesn't really exist that much. It's a very special kind of group of people. So
but this only happened.
Thank you for that.
Only happened because you created such magical music. This only happened because of that, right?
Thank you so much.
So again,
we're being
I want
so
to thank
humble
you.
to each other.
No, this is. Yeah, I think the frequencies are matching somehow. So
yeah.
But again, Ashiq, Yaber, Razin, Guppu, Aiedid, we are super humble, super excited that you were here, and thank you so much. We wouldn't want to take more time of you, but it was a pleasure for us, and hopefully,
same for us.
Whoever watches it, would get as inspired as we did.
And convey our regards to Ehsan as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.